Intel announcing plans to take its self-driving car unit, Mobileye, public mid-2022. Mobileye could be targeting an IPO valuation of upwards of $50 billion. This is one, I think, that basically tells you that this company at $200 billion is clearly undervalued because you had Mobileye buried within.
We definitely see the opportunity to bring Mobileye forward in a big way. Clearly, this is an opportunity for visibility with Mobileye. Visibility to the market and the shareholders, and increasing the visibility to the talent that we want as part of this great unit. Today's an exciting day as we roll this out. I think will be a great opportunity because this is such a unique asset, Jim. You know, it really pioneered the ADAS category, and now ADAS is evolving to L2, L2 plus, L4. You know, and it really is a very powerful capability as every car we believe will become EV, and this is the asset that will make AV happen at scale.
Ford has been a huge believer in this. Can you talk to people how this is a real company with massive sales? Mobileye has been the leader. It's been, ever since 2017, a big success, and you've tripled the sales since you've taken it over. So just give us the parameters of why $50 billion is not crazy.
Yeah, and, you know, last year it was about $1 billion in revenue. This year we expect to grow that like 40%. This is already very profitable. You know, now we have 30 companies that are using their ADAS. This year alone, we added 41 new designs. This is a real company that's leading in a powerful technology category. And when you look at their products, Jim, you know, they've just built the full stack of, you know, silicon systems, software, you know, the mapping software, the whole risk management system. They have been unquestionably creating this category. And the only company that we see who's anywhere close is Tesla. This is a very real company, and it's been somewhat hidden inside of Intel. This is great for the market.
I was worried about where you were going to come up with the money for your aggressive capital expansion plan, you know, maybe $20 billion, $22 billion. Well, it turns out I should take that off the table, shouldn't I, the worry?
Well, you know, we already saw that Intel's balance sheet, our cash flows, you know, were $20 billion plus of, you know, operating cash flow per year. And we will also well capitalize Mobileye. The proceeds from this will be helpful as well. But in the bigger context, you know, we have a lot of capabilities to move forward with our capital build out.
I'm not quite hearing the why. I may be a little bit, but is it simply because you feel like this is an undervalued asset that's part of your portfolio that then is going to be recognized more and get the stock price up? Why are you doing this?
You know, and clearly, you know, the visibility of this category. It is a hot category, and we have the hottest asset hidden inside of Intel. So we wanted to give it more visibility to the customers, visibility to the market and the investors, and visibility to the talent, right? You know, this is now where we're seeing that inflection point in the AV category. Mobileye pioneered ADAS, and now it's going to leap forward to be a leader in the entire AV technology sector. This is the right time to go do it. We do think that this ability for Intel and Mobileye to partner in a sustainable long-term way, Intel and my commitments to open up automotive foundry, automotive platform for open computing, and Mobileye being the vertical, so we'll have a horizontal and a vertical strategy for this burgeoning category of automotive semiconductors.
That was Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger on the reason behind spinning off the company's autonomous vehicle division, Mobileye. The IPO expected to come mid-next year, sending Intel shares up nearly 5% today, but it wasn't the only chip name ripping higher. I mean, Jared, it seems like the market really liked this move. What do you make of it?
From an Intel standpoint, the move makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, I think if you're Pat Gelsinger, if you're Intel, this will help validate the valuation of Mobileye back in 2017 for $15 billion, right? And now potentially achieving as much of a $50 billion valuation. When you think about 2022, probably be about 25 times revenue. So that'll help validate the valuation. Number two, it helps bring in proceeds from Intel. So as you think about their diversification efforts and the ability to pursue their foundry efforts, getting that capital in the door certainly helped. We saw a widespread rally across the entire chip sector today, but you saw NVIDIA, AMD, Marvell also gain on the news. You know, you sort of look at what this brings to Intel. Was this the right decision? 100%. It helps give you that valuation. It brings capital in the door. Does this change the long-term trajectory of Intel and the issues that investors are concerned about? AI and ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning share gains at NVIDIA and Marvell and AMD, which those shares continue to rise appreciably, right? That doesn't change the long-term trajectory at Intel.
Is this a sell the news event if you're an Intel owner? Or how should an investor in Intel play this from this point going forward?
If you're long Intel and you see this news, I think you have to be viewing this positively. The bigger fundamental question, if you're an Intel bull, is how do you think about the process technology roadmap? That's why you actually saw shares of Intel underperform broader semis today, And you obviously had a risk-on day in the broader market. For sure, it's and it's a good reminder how the world is so tethered to all of the cloud service providers, whether it's AWS, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Google. What's amazing is not only are there external implications if you're relying on AWS from a service provider perspective, that's obviously a problem with that out. But Amazon itself is being impacted pretty significantly, right? If you look at the delivery network for Amazon, you look at all of the Amazon partners that are trying to make those deliveries and access the Amazon app via AWS.
The fact that semis are closer to their all-time high than any other part of the market, so not only just the S&P or the triple Qs, but I mean within 2%. And I still think that semis are the chart to watch. And I still think that semis relative to the S&Ps, if you wanted to do an SMH divided by the SPY graph, you can see that semis are arguably breaking out against the S&P through a top of a range that they've hit a couple times in the last year. I think there's room. I think in a world where we've seen this, one of the reasons why NVIDIA is up 15% in 2 days is because the high multiple concerned market where growth is in question is going to get whacked. I think you are getting it at Qualcomm. And I do like this. I am an Intel shareholder. I do like this deal.
With credit card data showing that Rivian has fewer deposits for its R1T and R1S models than either Tesla's Cybertruck or Ford's F-150 Lightning. Firm does add that deposit count is only 8%. That's not a dollar figure, Jim, because the Rivian actually is a more expensive reservation.
Jim, you got to put 1,000 down. And I think that in many ways, when you look, there's a fantastic chart in that piece about which have the best numbers, and you could easily say Rivian because of how much money Rivian you have to put down. I think it's going to come down to that Rivian is Amazon. Ford's going to sell its Rivian stake, put more money into its own EV. Now, but Tesla has huge numbers of fanboys who would buy whatever Tesla puts out, including like an old-fashioned Hess truck that's made into a Tesla, and they would have 800,000 subs.
That may be the case. Nothing says that they're all not going to benefit.
I would tell you, if you listen to the numbers that Farley's talking about, the street's looking for 300,000. This man's talking about doing 600,000. Is because this would be monumental. This is the first real challenge.
So, I mean, to not say it hasn't been getting paid attention, you have been talking about it a great deal.
This Ford deal that he's making with Salesforce is the beginning of what I call the smart truck. Why do you see this thing? It could, in the end, you get an order. You need AZEC, okay? Or you need Trex, be able to build a balcony, let's call it a balcony, from a customer. So you then, in the cloud, go right to Home Depot and say, I want Trex boards. I don't know if you use Trex. And then you go, and it's there for you. They put it in your truck, and then you're with the customer. I'm talking about a saving of maybe 2 hours. Why? You can get another job in. And that's what this Ford deal is. That's why I emphasize it so much.
Okay. It's also interesting how it's all being sort of commercials turning into the tip of the spear on some of this stuff, which Farley did talk about. Take a listen.
We want to be number one in battery electric commercial vehicles. It's the heart of our profitability to take our battery electric vehicles, create a cloud, but we have to scale the production.
Ford in the end is the Ford truck, the F-150, the Super Duty, which I bought. And what he's saying is, look, we will get the customer, but I think it matters, $39 a month. But what's going to happen, Carlos, is that he is staking Ford's reputation on being EV much faster than anybody realizes. Remember, he only makes what's profitable. That's very different. The old Ford made unprofitable cars all over the globe.